You ready?
Yo, what's up? How we doing, everybody? Are you guys ready? Woo!
Hello, everybody. Are you ready for
You
tonight?
remember my name? Woo! Come on.
Ooh, look
And I
at
got my
Elsie.
coffee.
Elsie inviting the whole world in here.
I got to put comments on so I'm not running around crazy. It's all about reality. How y'all feeling today? Comment how y'all feeling today. I hope y'all having a good day. This is...
And this is how we're starting.
Oh, it's too early to die.
And this is how we start. Hey, Lori.
Ooh, that made my eyes water. I was trying to talk and swallow at the same time. That didn't work. Woo, so how you guys doing today? What's up, Elkie? Look, I try to diet early in this show. My goodness gracious. Igdalia, how you doing, Igdalia? Jamie's in the house. Lori's in the house. I think, is that Margarita? Did I say that right? I tried to even say it with a little, like, slither of the tongue. Queen Brandy's in the house. This show.
Oh, sorry. I had an issue.
Come on, you got to turn the volume down before you do that. Ooh, man. I really almost choked. Like, that was bad. Whew. So, anyways, what's up?
If you're new out there to us, if this is the first time you're here, say hi, say I'm new, tell us where you're from. And that way we get to know you. All righty. All right, so let's get started.
Did you say hi and say who?
I said all righty.
Oh, I was thinking, like I was getting, I thought you was like hip hop, hooray, ho, hey, ho. You probably don't know anything about that.
Oh, yes, I do know about that. I'm from Hialeah.
Huh?
I'm from Hialeah. I do know about that.
There she goes with that whole.
Andy Johnson, my pleasure. Okay. All right, guys. So today we are going to continue the conversation that Raymond started this morning about the power of.
Hold on. I do. Everybody has to. Everybody has to know what happens before we start, though. It's like my little secret. I got to tell everybody. It's the blooper reel.
The blooper they don't get.
So look. So when we were preparing for this, we haven't prepared for this. So I just want y'all to know that this is my type. This is Sarai's night, right? But Mrs. Queen Preparedness is
not prepared. Guys, I don't even know what happened today. So, I opened my eyes, I had breakfast, and then it became 7:30 at night. I don't even know what happened in between that time. Like in between, it's like a big mess.
Look, it's all good because y'all know I always say I'm like the freestyle hip hop artist, man. You give me a topic and we'll spit it out. We got it. We got enough. Look, I used to not be able to say this in school where I said I had a lot of knowledge in here. In high school, that wasn't so, but I got a lot of stuff in there we can pull out. There's some hidden gems in there.
So
Good evening, Alexandria.
I'm going to say that tonight, more than ever, you guys are part of this conversation because we do have a topic, and we are going to continue from Raymond's topic this morning. If you didn't watch his live, go watch it. It was really, really awesome. But we're going to have a conversation tonight continue the conversation about the power of you and what that really means. And whatever you guys want to say, if you have a question, if you want to make a comment, if you want to do anything to join the conversation, go ahead and do that. We would greatly appreciate that so that you could be part of it. Raymond, why are you smiling like that? And what are you doing? Are you in your own world? You're like in your own bubble.
I am in my own bubble, and it's called my lab. This is my lab. This is where I do all my little experiments. But anyways, I am in my own bubble. But Elkie was saying that I was getting her to raise her hand. So I was, in my mind, I was thinking of the hip hop. Hey. So I was swaying with Elkie in my imagination.
Is that why you were smiling? Is that why you were smiling?
That's what I was swinging. So, I don't know what I was going to say. I forgot.
So tonight, go, Raymond, go.
I don't remember. Like, I just had like a complete, like, where was I going?
I don't know. You were in a bubble. You were in a bubble dancing with Elkie.
Okay, me and Elkie getting down.
Uh-oh. So, power of you. We're talking about the power of you.
The power of me? Like the power of Raymond?
No, the power of you. You see, earlier I said power of me, and you corrected me. You said it was power of you. So that's what I mean. Like the power, our individual power, the power that we each have within us. Like
I just don't understand why my screen on StreamYard makes me look like I'm a slow motion zombie. Like it drives me crazy. Like I feel like I could pull.
Maybe your kids
Yours
are
is like high definition.
Well, because your kids are all on the internet, so they're sucking up all the Wi-Fi.
They are, and we got a storm coming too, man. I see it a brewing. So, anyways, we just this is how we loosen up. We got to loosen up, like before we spit fire, we got to loosen up. What's up, brother Dream? Dream, shouldn't you be sleeping? Isn't it like 3 a.m. over there? I think it's like 3 a.m.
I don't know how you see him. Exactly. All right, so let's start talking about the power of you. So when you were talking earlier, Raymond, about the power of you,
you get to start it. This is your show. You're starting tonight.
I'm starting it right now, and my start is asking you a question. So I'm going to ask you a question.
No, that's not the way it works. No, that's not the way it works. You got to break the ice.
Okay. So when we're talking about the power of you, hey, Lisa Marie, when we were talking about the power of you, or when we talk about the power of you, we're talking about the inherent power that you have within you, like the gifts, the uniqueness that you have inside of you. What makes you truly just you, what makes Elkie, what makes Margarita, what makes Brandy, what makes Raymond unique. So
we know that.
We're talking about what makes you truly unique. And a lot of times we want to push away from that, and a lot of times when we're doing things, we want to do what someone else is doing, and we sort of want to be like what that other person is being and doing because they do it so great. But it's because they are in their power of you. They're living in their power. They're living in their center of their gift. And what we're talking about here is you living in the center of your own gift, you recognizing what your greatness is. Whatever word you want to use. I use the word greatness. I use like be authentic, recognize your gifts, all these things. So that's what we're really talking about today, is you being more and more of you being more and more authentically you, because we're trying to look at the other guy and see how great they're doing, and maybe we're trying to sort of be like them and do it like them. You don't know that there might be someone out there watching you trying to be like you, and there might be someone thinking that you're being great just being yourself. So the secret is really more of you, and to just look within and to just sort of develop yourself. And you could use other people as inspiration. I could be inspired. I'm inspired all day long by so many people, and how they do it, what they do. I'm always inspired, like, by the way that Raymond just comes on and he's able to just spew out stuff, and then when he lifts his notebook and tells you, this is how many notes I have, and there's like one line, but yet from that one line he was able to talk for an hour and a half. Or I have Carrie who comes on and she's just like tells you stories and stories. Like, that is so awesome. But that's who they are. And I constantly look at them and, I'm guilty too of going, man, I wish I could do it like them. But maybe there's something I do my way, which is probably be super Cuban. Maybe that's what I do really great. So the point is,
all your gestures.
How could you be more of you? So maybe if you guys could just answer out there, what do you feel is uniquely? You heard what I said, uniquely. What do you feel is uniquely you? what is the one thing that you do that is like truly special, different? What is the one thing you do in a way that is better? That you just did great. It's not really about doing it better than others. It's just that you know that you're doing that great. And sometimes the answer to that is like, what do you do all day long without even being asked to do? What do you do all day long? What could you do all day long without getting paid, and you wouldn't even get tired because it flows naturally out of you. What is that thing? So when I look at Raymond, and I'm just going to use Raymond because he's just right in front of me, looking all confused. But when I look at Raymond, you know what happens? Raymond naturally, he's a natural born speaker. He is able to like put his ideas into a way that he packages in such a way that it inspires you. It makes you want to move. He just makes you understand concepts, and he just spews out like, quotes from that he read like 2 years ago in a book, and it'll all of a sudden pop in his head and he'll throw it at you. Like that. I find that so amazing. So I think Raymond, the power of you is probably here in your throat, in your voice, in your tongue, and like in your speaking. People talk about chakras, so this is probably the most important chakra for you, your throat, like the way that your speaking ability. And I bet you, and you know what? Another way to know what your greatness is if you were unable to do that, how depressed would you be? So if you were unable to speak, if you were unable to inspire people and do that sort of thing, how miserable do you think you'd be, Raymond?
Well, before I knew it, I mean, you have to know it.
Okay.
I didn't, you gotta, so you guys gotta remember, like, where I come from a place of anger, hate. I didn't want to talk to people. I hated when people talk to me. I still, believe it or not, still, when I can get into these moments where like, I'm just overwhelmed, things are going crazy, I got multiple things going on, cooking dinner, got activities, got all this stuff. There's times where I'm like, man, I hope nobody calls me. But in the reality, it's if I love to talk. So that's my escape mechanism, which isn't a good place to be. If I start to feel like I don't want to talk, then that's probably me trying to hide, right? That's not living the power of what I have inside of me. But once I heard the first speaker, once I heard TD Jakes for the first time, once I heard Eric Thomas for the first time, it really sparked something in me. So it wasn't something that I even knew or thought about myself at all, but it was when I heard the passion and power of a TD Jakes, of an Eric Thomas. When I heard that type of power, that's when I was like, wow, that is incredible, because it grabbed my attention, and things like that didn't really grab my attention. So I think for me, it's before you know what the power of you is you have to know what power of you is, right?
Mm-hmm. So you basically, that power, I think the way that you're saying it sounds like you have to know what your gift is. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. but yeah, I think that's so basically you have to know what you're passionate about. You have to know what you're passionate about.
Okay. So know what you're passionate about. Do you know what you're passionate about? Do you know what you're passionate about?
You're just sitting. I don't understand. What are you doing? Like, what's going on?
What do you mean? Know what you're passionate. You're making me cry of laughter. Know what you're passionate about, right? So that's why are we not saying more about it?
I didn't know what we were supposed to. I was just simply stating you got to know what you're passionate about. So what are you asking me? I don't know. Were you asking a question?
Yes. I feel like you're not.
I gotta know.
Oh my God, guys, whatever. So he's saying know what you're passionate about. So I think
and your video keeps breaking up too.
I don't know. Mine is fine. I see you breaking up, but so I think that what you're passionate about and your gift maybe are not the same thing. I just happen to believe it doesn't have to be the same thing. because I think you have to learn how to use your gift with the thing that you're passionate about. But sometimes what you're passionate about isn't your gift. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you an example. Like, my son is really, really great at math. He could always do math in his head, and he never needed a calculator, and he'll end up in trouble all the time in school. He'll get in trouble because he wouldn't show the steps, and he wouldn't even know how he did the steps in his head. He would just come up with the answer. So in algebra, you know how you have to show the steps? He'll be in trouble. But he doesn't like math, but he has to find a way to use that gift of being able to calculate in whatever his passion is, which I don't even know what that is either. But so I think sometimes your gift may not be the thing you're passionate about. It's just the thing that your gift could be the thing that you use to deliver your passion. So like your gift is like your speaking abilities and being able to communicate and all of that. So you could use that in your passion, because your passion could be teaching, it could be being a preacher. You see what I'm saying? So you could use, and I'm not saying those are your passions, but whatever your passion is, you could use that speaking gift to deliver whatever to deliver. It's the vehicle that you use to deliver your passion. Does that make sense?
Kind of and sort of.
Okay, then tell me your thoughts.
I mean, I think again, it's potential, passion, and profit, which leads to purpose. I think passion. I think your purpose creates a passion, but sometimes we find out we're passionate about before we find our purpose, before we understand what our purpose is, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I do understand, but like when you say that my gift is to speak, and I can do it in whether it's teaching or this, I'm still using my speaking. I'm still using my passion, which is my gift, right? So I mean, some people are passionate about football, but that's not their gift. I understand that, but I'm looking for more of a deeper thing. You know, I know people have passions that they're not gifted in, but I think your gift will provide your passion for you. Like when you're gifted at something, it'll create your passion. It'll create the avenue.
Okay, so sometimes your gift could create your passion. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it could create your passion. What are you passionate about,
Yeah.
Raymond? What are you passionate about? You haven't answered that question. I've asked you like 3 times already.
What am I? I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about God. I'm passionate about biblical principles and spiritual life. I'm passionate about my children. I'm passionate about creating. I'm passionate about helping people reach goals. I'm passionate about serving. I'm passionate about helping the next generation of entrepreneurs and young kids and the leadership principles. So everything that I'm passionate about is also, I feel like God has given me a gift in it. And it's because I look inside.
So the way that I see it is that God gave you a gift, and you use that gift to deliver your passion. You use the gift of speaking to be able to change lives, to do the spiritual work, to create, to be a good dad, and to give your children the messages that they need to hear. So you're using, I see that you're using your gift of speaking and saying,
I think what happened to me, is when I heard the speakers, it created an interest, which I got passionate about, which made me seek inside of myself, which I learned that I had a gift to gab.
So you're proof,
right? So my passion made me look for my gift.
Okay, so could I use you as an example? Because that's what I wrote here that you were making fun of. That I said, here it is. Know the power is already within you. So that gift was already inside of you. It's just that you saw people, and it's almost like it made you be aware of that power that you had inside of you. You understand what I mean? That's why I wrote that the power is within you. You thought it was funny.
No, I said it made it sound like it. No, I said it sounded like we were doing a Star Wars podcast.
But do you guys see, like, do you see how
the power is in you?
The way that Raymond just described what he described, do you guys see how he already had the power inside of him, but he saw you got inspired by others, and it resonated with you because it's already inside of you. It was already there, and that just needed to spark it. And of course, you weren't really aware of it because of so much other stuff that was.
But that's why that's why I believe mentorship and coaching is so critical in all aspects of life, because it does help you unblock the blessings that are inside of you. It helps you unblock the gifts that have been trampled on and so-called pooped on for years and years from abuse and just the upbringing and people telling you that you can't do that and you can't do this, when all along that you were born with the power inside of you. So the gift of the power of you is so incredible because it really is inside of us. But unfortunately, it's been trampled on for so long, and sometimes at such an early age, especially when I go out here and work with these young kids, you see that the expectations of them are not held very high because their parents or their grandparents, you know, they're just in survival mode. They don't really have the expectations for their lives. So no one's teaching them that they have a gift. No one's teaching them and asking them what they're passionate about. So I think for me, when I started to hear these guys, you know, I started to see, wow, like, man, like I can have someone that I can listen to anytime, and stir that up in me until obviously it got me to start to seek myself, because I would hear things like, why do you believe what you believe? And I was like, what does that mean? Like, I couldn't, like, what does that mean? Why do I believe what I believe? And I started to learn, I believe what I believe because what I've been taught. It's what has been put in my mind from other people's, the thinking of other people. And when you live in other people's thoughts or other people's position in life, then, you know, you can't have, you know, then the power of you is decreased severely. So if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. All right. So the other thing that I had written here was daring to dream, which you know, in a way you sort of talked about it now. I don't know why this is becoming all about you. but
You're making it that way.
Look,
because you know why? Because you were not prepared. So you're putting it all on me.
Look, develop your gift and dare to dream. This totally sounds like you are, like you said, you developed your dream. I mean, you dared to dream and you developed your gift, and that's how you got here. Like, it totally sounds like that. Like, and you keep looking behind you.
What? Because my son wants to come in and get his basketball for some. Oh, hurry up. This is what I deal with.
This is what happens when you have kids. Why doesn't he say something to us?
He I don't know. It's getting ready to storm. He's getting ready to go outside. It's already raining.
Oh my God.
he's oh, whatever.
All right. So anyway, the next one is dare to dream. So dare to dream is so important to me because, you know, honestly, I think that's sort of like what I did in my own life. Like, no matter what was happening in my life, and I'm talking about even when I was like a teenager and then my early 20s, no matter what I was experiencing in my life or emotionally or spiritually or whatever way, I always saw further. I always saw beyond what was happening. I never really got stuck, even though, like, of course, you know, you might worry or you might feel the emotions of the current experience that you're having. I always saw beyond that, and I always thought about what could be, and I always dreamt about not just what could be. I also, like, sort of, I sort of fantasized and created a life in my mind of what I wanted. And the other day I was talking to Stacy, and I actually told Stacy that I sort of created and manifested everything I wanted as a little girl. I wanted to own my own business. I wanted to help so many people. I wanted, even to the point where I wanted to go back and work in the neighborhood that a neighborhood that I grew up in. I always wanted to go back there and work with the kids in that neighborhood, and I actually got a job working in the center for the kids that lived in the neighborhood, which was like incredible. So daring to dream is sort of visualizing, and I didn't do it on purpose because at that time I didn't even know what visualization was. But I was always like, I was sort of, I had one foot in this world and I had another foot in the world of possibilities, and that was something that I think, if I wouldn't have been that type of person to be able to have one foot in the realm of possibility and in the world of my dreams, this is why this is so important to me. If I hadn't done that, you know, almost like subconsciously I did that. But if I hadn't done that, I would have never manifested or created my life. And is my life perfect? No, it's not perfect. But I'm still always looking ahead, and I'm always dreaming. I'm still constantly dreaming. And you, Raymond, you know me very well, so you know I'm constantly thinking of what's possible, and I'm always dreaming of what could be. And it's almost like I'm not even dreaming. It's not even like I think I'm dreaming of what could be. I'm living as if it's already happened. And sometimes you want to pull the wool off my eyes and be like, this time like that, this is how it is. But that's actually like what has saved me along the way many times. What do you think about daring to dream?
The audio keeps breaking, video keeps, huh?
I said, are
What?
you even there? Are you there?
I am, and I'm trying to listen because I hear the thunder coming, and I hear the video, and the audio keeps breaking up. So I'm trying to pay attention. So I wouldn't be surprised if I lost power here shortly, because I feel something roaring over top of my house. But dare to dream? No, I never had that issue. I never dreamed. I didn't have. I mean, I was just, again, I've been in survival mode my whole life. You know what I mean? I mean, I would think about playing in the NFL, and, you know, Jerry Rice is probably the best receiver to ever play the game. So I would make this thing up, and I would call myself Jerry White. You know what I mean? Because I had this envision of being this NFL receiver, so dreaming in that nature, but actually, you know, dreaming of traveling and dreaming of, like, I didn't have any of that in me. I wasn't taught to that. There was so much destruction, there was so much chaos that I couldn't even escape into a to the dream world or to a wish land. It was survival mode. So I didn't understand really what a dream was until I heard in the seminar I was at, and they said the Mark Twain quote where it said, imagination is the most powerful thing that a human being can use. And it really made me think, because, you know, as a father, you grow up watching Barney the dinosaur, right? And it talks about, you know, use your imagination. And I used to be like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That was my thought when I would listen to Barney. But as I started to understand that everything starts in your imagination, right?
Yeah.
So then I started to learn, like, you know, how can I dream? What do I need to dream? And then I started to read books, and I started to understand how you have to write it down. You have to plan it. And then when I started to read the Bible, and the Bible started talking about write it down plain, you know what I mean? You know, seek God for the things that you want, you know, and all these different things. And then I started to learn, like, wow, man, it's like you really can start to put things into perspective when you first see it. When you first see it in your mind, and you start to believe that these things can occur, and you start to see them actually kind of pan out in front of you. Is it easy? No. But dreams, man, to live your dream is really just pursuing. It's you know, what do they say? The pursuit of happiness. But I don't think we pursue happiness. I think happiness comes in circumstances. I think it's we're pursuing joy. You know, what makes us makes us tick, what makes us excited, what do we love, what are we happy about? So yeah, I mean, it's only been a couple years, you know, 6 years, when I understood really what imagination was and what a dream was. Not a fantasy, not like, hey, I'm going to go to bed and dream. No, you know, I mean, that's what the dream was to me. I can honestly say I never thought of a dream outside of sleeping. It didn't make sense to me. Right. But again, it goes to the coaching and the mentorship and the people that you have around you. When you don't have thinkers, when you don't have people who are growing, when you don't have people that are stretching themselves, then you're really stuck with that type of level that you're at.
Yeah, and for me, it wasn't like that I learned how to dream. I think for me, it was a coping mechanism to dream. Dreaming was the only thing I could do, like daydreaming, even like in high school, you know, with a lot of things that I was going through, I would just walk in and write my name on a paper, and I was just in another world in my daydreaming. And that was my way of escaping, like, it was almost like a form of associating, was to daydream and to think. And I see other people saying the same thing, like Sam. No, it wasn't Sam. It was Elkie, I think, was saying. She says, I think it's very important to do that as a child, especially if you need to escape to your reality at home, from home sometimes. And then MJ said, dreams kept me afloat during my teens. So sometimes dreaming is is that thing. It's your brain's way of trying to keep you alive. It's your brain's way of trying to get you to survive. And so sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of
See, I
times
was
that
on
is.
the opposite though.
Yeah, I know. That's what you're describing. What was your
Yeah,
opposite?
I was in survival. I was in. It was my brain only thought about survival. My brain didn't think of a dream, of a hope, of a wish. My brain literally was like just moving, like moving forward, living another day, surviving another day. What can I get today? You know what I mean? What am I going to eat today? Like it was that constant, like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. So,
Unease feeling.
but that makes sense because if your basic needs are not met, of like eating, having a roof over your head, or having a safe environment, your brain, our brain space isn't isn't infinite. There's only a certain amount of space that we have to use. And you're saying your brain was all used up by trying to figure out this stuff, like trying to figure out, like, am I going to be safe? Am I going to eat? Am I going to all that stuff? So that makes a lot of sense. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people here who could identify with that. Like, there's actually so many kids that go to school like that, and then they're expected to pay attention, and they're expected to do well in school when they didn't eat, and they maybe didn't eat breakfast or dinner, and maybe they didn't sleep because they were fighting at
And
home, or
you,
something happened. Maybe they were getting
but
sexually
that's
abused.
a huge.
There's so many things that happen to kids that the teachers are like, pay attention. It's like no commands of paying attention is going to be enough to have a kid like that pay attention. A kid that doesn't have his basic needs met, there's no command and there's nothing you could do other than fix the situation at home. There's no command that's really going to command the kid into attention when he hasn't ate, getting abused, or things are happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do.
I'm like, all right, let's move to the next one. Okay, then the next one I had written down was to speak life into yourself and into your dreams. So I know Raymond said I wasn't prepared, but I was prepared. We just hadn't gone over it. But speak life into you and your dreams. So for me, what that means is to speak positively over yourself and over the dreams that you have and over your gifts. Like keep yourself in a state of positive expectation. Like, don't kill the dream before you even get started. Don't announce your failure before you even make one move. Make sure that you have positive expectation and you're staying optimistic, even for whatever's happening in front of you. And this is sort of speaks to people who are like the pessimist versus the optimist. And there's research that shows that the optimist will always go farther than the pessimist, because the pessimist stops himself before he even gets started, because the logic starts to tell him, oh, it's not logical that this can happen. But then again, imagine if Oprah thought it wouldn't be logical for her to make it. Imagine if Tony Robbins thought it wouldn't be logical for him to make it because of his original start, or Oprah's original start, or how many other people, Martin Luther King. Imagine if these super important people that created such major impact in the world and in their lives and in the lives of others, imagine if they would have stopped themselves before even making a move, just because logic said it. Logic is not logical. Logic is not logical because it's not inclusive of all possibilities. Logic is very narrow-minded, and logic only tells you the possibilities of what you could see. But we have to also include the possibilities of what we don't see, the possibilities, which is faith. That's where faith steps in, and that's where your belief system steps in. So one thing is, you have a dream and you have a vision of things, but that's just going to remain a dream and a vision until you take action on it. And you're going to take action on things. When you take action on things, that's your declaration of your faith. When you take action on anything that you're dreaming about, or anything that you truly desire in life, when you start taking action on it, you're actually saying, I believe in my dream. And you have to speak into it. You have to speak into that dream manifesting. You have to talk about, what in detail, what it is that you want, what it is that you're what the vision truly looks like, the end result. What does it really look like for you? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You're falling asleep, Ray. You're not even with us. You're
Who,
not even
me?
with us. Yes.
I am. You don't understand. You're breaking up sad on side for some reason.
Okay, I'm doing the live. Look, guys, I'm gonna do the live. Raymond, whenever you want, jump in.
Huh? What
Whenever you
happened?
want, whenever you want to jump in, jump in.
Jump in. So I mean, you said a lot. So so my whole life I was a pessimist, and I still have pessimistic tendencies. So I don't know who else feels like that, but I always say that I have to work, I believe, 100 times harder than anybody else to keep my positive thoughts, the self-image of myself, because of 35 years of living one particular way. It's I don't believe people who say they can't, because I believe every day. Some days are great days, and I have many days, but I'm telling you right now, in the process of pursuing your dreams, you're going to have a lot more down days than up days. When you're building something of great rapport, if you're building something to actually pursue your dreams, you're going to have a lot of down moments. You're going to have a lot of people stab you in the back. You're going to have a lot of broken relationships. You're going to have a lot of people that oppose you. You're going to deal with things. So when you are a pessimist, when you do grow that way, but then you start to build this dream up inside of you, and you start to really talk to yourself about it, you got to work your face off just to keep a good mind, just to have a good positive attitude, to keep your eyes on the dream that nobody else sees, and they're not supposed to see it. But I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes you're like, man, I just wish one person would see it, because it can get exhausting. So, but it goes to the conscious and the subconscious mind too, the ant and the elephant, the robot and the mechanism, whatever terminology you want to use, depending on what book you read, that's really what it all boils down to it. So I think it's important to make sure you have it in front of you all the time, and you're always repeating it to yourself, because if you don't, then I think you can really lose. I know this for a fact. When you have a dream, when you have a goal, people will tell you, they're excited for you. But as you start to move in the journey towards your dream, and you got to start to limit some time around people, maybe you can't go to where they're used to you going, maybe the things, they're not going to really want you to move towards your dream anymore, because they see you changing. They see you growing. They see you stretching. They see that losing you, but they're losing the old you. See, people don't want to lose the old you, because when they lose the old you, the new you scares them, because it shows them their own deficiencies in your growth. And that's where a lot of relationships will break up in the dream. And that's why I always tell people, like, you're going to have to look at your circle, and you're going to have to get around like-minded people, because they have probably gone through similar breakups in their lives too, and having to change their circle of influences and friends and all that stuff. And I think it's this, is you're going to have so many people who want to see you succeed that sometimes you're avoiding, because you're worried about leaving the people who want you to hinder your dream, when you got people on the other side who want to flourish in your dream. So, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, of course it makes sense. That always happens. I love how you said that it's not so much that they don't want to see you grow, it's that they don't want to lose the old you, which is the you that they know and understand. And then it becomes a threat when you start changing and evolving and all of that. It becomes a threat to them and their position in your life. So when people see you evolve, they start looking at you, and then they're like, where does that leave me? If you're doing all this stuff and you're having all these new friends and you're changing yourself, where does that leave me in your life? So I think people become afraid of, their position in your life, and then they want to stop you, but it's not, sometimes it isn't even that they're not really trying to hurt you. It's just that they're trying to protect their relationship with you. So sometimes really terrible things happen from people really trying to protect something that it doesn't come from a bad place. It comes from a place where they're trying to protect something. Are you having a hard time hearing me because of the speaker?
Your audio just keeps, for some reason, your audio just keeps, like, you keep freezing in slow motion. But I'm just trying to steadily listen. But you say that, there are a lot of people that, whether we want to believe it or not, there are a lot of people. What?
You want to jump off and do you want to jump off and come back on?
No, I'm fine. If we're still rolling, Facebook's fine. We're good.
Okay. No, I meant for you to jump off and then you jump back on.
You just. What? Am I frozen?
No. Can you guys hear us well? Let me know if you guys can hear us well.
Why did we stop? Why did we stop the flow? Am I frozen?
No. All right. So, let me see. So I am cool with leaving those hindering my dream. I'm over it. Good, Jamie. Sarai, that's not true. Go up with them. Let it be their encouragement for you to follow your dreams. Do you want to jump off and get back on? Maybe that'll make your on Facebook. Elkie says we're good on Facebook. So I'm saying if you jumped off and came back on. Okay, bye. Bye. All right. Anyway, so the next one, the next one I have here is, we were talking about your gifts, but so I'm going to say, so once you discover what your gift is, you know how Raymond was saying to discover what your gift is, and once you like know what your gift is, then in my opinion, your job is to develop that gift, to find a way to develop it by either you can refine it by taking classes or actually asking yourself more questions about what that gift is, what do you want to do with it. Just really dive into your gift, because it's my opinion that once you really jump into your gift and once you really sort of what's the word, like when you really embody your gift and you really let it like flourish, that's when you're going to show up as the best version of you. That's when you're going to show up as the strongest you. That's when you're going to be the most what's the word, like the most, that's when you're going to be able to deliver so much more of you. That's when you're the most authentic. And for anyone watching out there that wants to be a life coach or wants to have some type of social presence, I would say to just really dive into your gift and really just build on it and develop it and just sort of refine it every single day. Work on refining it, and the best you is going to show up. I think that's just the straightest way for the best you to show up. What do you think, Raymond? Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I think the most, well, so to develop your gift is knowing that first you have to believe in it, right? I talked about it earlier. I talked about the passion, I talked about the excitement, and I talked about the belief. So when you find out that you have a gift, you have to get excited about it. I think you have to be excited that there's something inside of you that you know is there, because if once you get excited about it, that'll get you to move into the action stage. And I think when you're developing your gift, is okay. So I was talking about earlier, Eric Thomas, TD Jakes. Obviously, I'm not going to just call them on the phone, but how can I get around them, right? How can I get around them? YouTube, right? Facebook, podcast, seminars, conventions, right? Leadership summits that I know TD Jakes does. So there's so many things that we can do to develop our gift by simply leaning into other people who have done it. I'm telling you right now, look, I'm a firm believer, right? The education system teaches kids to read for information. We need to stop getting our kids and ourselves to read for information, right? We need to understand that reading is supposed to be transformational. And that's the one thing, if I can get anybody to ever understand, I'm always talking about books, right? Warren Buffett reads 6 hours a day. The guy's one of the top richest people in the world. Whatever you want to say about him, everybody that I know that is successful, they're either reading books and learning how to write books. Why? Why do you think that is? Because not only have they learned what their gift is, now they want to share it with the world. You know, I mean, that's the most greatest thing, is when you realize what your gift is and you can put it in a book to share with somebody else, especially because each one of us has our own particular circle that we're going to influence. And now it's our responsibility. It's my responsibility in the people that I coach and mentor to pull their gift out of them. Not for what I want, but for what they're telling me they want from the things that they're telling me throughout our coaching or throughout our building process. Is now I can continue to remind them. And then I can continue, when they ask me a question, I'm not going to give them a direct answer, right? I know what my gift is. I know how I need to continue to perform at a high level. I need to go to those who are 10 steps in front of me. I need to get around like-minded people. I need to understand that I don't have all the answers, but I need to know where to go. I need to know how to continue to build in me so I can strengthen my gifts. So now I can go to the people that I work with and I can help them, because we're all at different levels. And when you're coaching, you got to be able to coach somebody at a beginner level, and you got to be able to coach somebody at an advanced level, somebody who maybe, look, and this is the whole thing about developing your gift. When you're developing your gift, you're only going to be able to help people as high as you are at, right? So you got to be able to continue to grow yourself, level yourself in the gift that's in front of you. Whatever, look, I know this, when it comes to professional athletes, when it comes to college athletes, when it comes to high school athletes, when it comes to intramural athletes in elementary and middle school, what's the one thing that everybody knows? When you get around a special talent, you're like, holy crap, they're special, right? And then it advances. So from elementary to middle school, from middle school to high school, from high school to college, it's a complete increase. And then from college to the NFL, it's like freaking it's like 1.3% of all college athletes make it to the next level. And that's not to say it's impossible, but what it means is you can see the gift that somebody has. But that doesn't mean that just because they're gifted means they're going to go to the next level or they're going to excel in it. Like people with high IQs usually end up living in basements of their parents, right? Because they think they're smarter than everyone else, but they never actually put it into application, right? So when you got a gift, you got to be willing to outwork everybody, because when you aligned your gift, right, developing your gift with the work ethic and the transformation, it will create that dream that we've been talking about.
Yeah, that's true. And I really like how you said that, because there are people that are very, very gifted, but then they don't have the work ethic, and then they never get to realize their dreams. They never even get to deliver what they're meant to deliver, because they don't have the work ethic behind it. And then they have someone behind them who had half of their gift, but because they worked so hard, they were able to achieve more than they were even supposed to, or they were able to achieve their possibilities. So that's really, really a really good point.
I think I heard Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington said, I think it was Denzel Washington, and Denzel Washington said that your character or your talents will take you places your character can't keep you, right? So it's an all around. When you're developing your gift, you can't be a jerk, right? You can't be a jerk. You can't be someone who thinks it's all about you. You can't be self-righteous. You can't be condescending. You can't be sarcastic, always putting people down. When you're developing your gift, you need the moral, ethical, and emotional support from everyone. So not only you know your gift, but you got to bless and you got to be proud of the people that are helping you get to where you want to go. I mean, it's when you're transforming into become the gift that God has created you to be, it's an all around thing. So I think the one thing where people fail is yes, you got to strengthen your strong suits, because that's what's going to hit you to the next level. Like when I look at Eric Thomas, right? He understood that he had the power to speak. He had the power to empower people, right? But he understood that. But he also understood that I need to get better in some of these other aspects You know what I mean? So more people will understand what I'm saying. So I think it's so important to understand that just because you got a gift doesn't mean that you can only focus on that. Where are you lagging, and where can you get better? So people can start to see a different you, start to see that transformation, because that's when people start to recognize you. That's when people start to fall in love with you, so to say.
Okay. All right. So, today, you almost fell off your chair right now. You almost fell
No,
back.
I didn't. I was
It looked
good.
like
I didn't lean that far back this time.
So today's topic is the power of you, and I thought I always include this in just about every talk I have, but I think it's super, super important that when trying to develop the power of you, you're always going to have adversities. You're always going to be making mistakes along the way. There's always going to be things happening that come from nowhere. Like all of a sudden you had a plan and just something just got thrown at you from nowhere, and you weren't even expecting that. That's just the way life is. So we need to, in order to really become the best version of ourselves, we need to be able to give empowering meaning to the things that happen to us, to the experiences that we have, to it. We need to really like hone down on learning how to do this like immediately. Like, when things happen, we might automatically go to negative thinking and say, well, of course this is happening to me because I am this, or I am that, I'm lazy, or I deserved it, or I'm dumb, or those type of things, or of course, whatever words it is. We all have our own set of automatic negative thoughts, but we need to be able to snap ourselves out of that quickly and give empowering meaning to the things that happen to us. So it's not about stopping ourselves from even having the automatic negative thoughts, because that's automatic. It's about not letting those thoughts take over us for a week, month, or even years, because some people get so stuck in these thoughts for years and they never move forward. And I know it's hard to believe that, but I know people that have been stuck in their negative thinking, in their worry, in their disempowering beliefs about themselves, about the world, or about people, that they either become complacent, they procrastinate, they don't make moves, or whatever it is. So we need to quickly, when we start having the negative thinking, we need to quickly switch those to more empowering thoughts. And that goes back to like the talk about being pessimistic and being optimistic. It sort of boils down to that. So if you are having disempowering thoughts and automatic negative thoughts very frequently and for a long time, you're probably a negative person. You're probably someone who is a pessimist. And if you're that person, you're the one that has to pull yourself out of that. I mean, you could have a therapist, you could have a coach, you could have a best friend, you could have a preacher, you could have a book, but it's you're the one that has to make the choice of saying, you know what, here I am again. I'm doing it again to myself. How is this thought serving me? How is it serving me to think that I'm not going to make it? How is it serving me to think that I deserve this? Which goes to unforgiveness too. Like, punishing yourself for something you did a week ago, a year ago, a bad choice you made, or a mistake you made in a relationship, or whatever it was. Like, we need to be able to move from these type of thinking patterns very quickly and give ourselves empowering thoughts that feed us, that speak life into us and speak life into our dreams, so that we're able to manifest the life that we want. You're not going to manifest the life that you want by worrying, by putting yourself down, by not forgiving yourself, or by let's not even talk about that. What about if you are so stuck on what that person did to you long ago, which could be your parents, or it could be your ex, or it could be whoever it is? What if every day you're torturing yourself with that thought? You're not going to manifest the life that you want if you're every day living in what happened. And that was long ago, but you're still living there if you're thinking about it. So that's what we're talking about here. You need to give empowering meaning to the things that happen to you. You have to empower yourself by turning those things into a purpose, or forgiving those things, or whatever it is that makes sense to you with the situation. What do you think, Raymond?
I think too in this case, because I think you got to get around empowering people. I'm always going to bring it back to the people that you have around you. is you got to have you got to be around people who are empowering you. You got to, and the one thing that happened to me is in the transition period. I went from broken, depressed, anxious, angry, thoughtless, negative, pessimistic Raymond into, hey, I can change, right? It was the fact that somebody told me that my adversities could create the most unbelievable potential in my life, right? And that was so critical for me to understand that, man, you know what? The things that I've been through, the things that have happened are just resources, tools to really empower me to become better, to do more. I mean, that's an incredible thing.
It really
When
is.
you really think about the things that we've gone through, we've all gone through some type of traumatic experiences. I don't care who you are, but I also want people to understand it's okay to have a moment. It's okay to have a day where you feel a little off, but make sure you got somebody. Don't hide from it. Acknowledge it. This is what I always say. This is and this is for me. This is what I teach people, and I know it's helped me because I've done it for myself. Is I have to look at all the damage that has been done to me, right? And I have to acknowledge the fact. I have to acknowledge it. I have to acknowledge it. What does acknowledging it mean, right? Acknowledging it is saying that did happen to me. That really did happen to me. Though I didn't like it, but what can I do about it now? So you got to acknowledge these things, these adversities that have happened, whatever it is. I don't care what level it is, because we all have different adversities. So many people want to argue about the adversities they had. It's this bad. I don't care. An adversity is an adversity. And me and you could do the same thing, but it's going to affect one of us more because of a personality we have. Right? So we got to get out of the levels of adversities and say your adversity is what you got to overcome. Mine is what I got to overcome. But I think we have to acknowledge that. Once we can acknowledge it and say, damn, you know what? That happened to me. Then we have to accept it. We got to accept that these things happen to us. We can't be angry about it. We got to show forgiveness about it, but we got to accept it for what it is. This is what's been done. I'm going to acknowledge that it did, and then I'm going to accept that that's what happened to me. Right? And then once you do that, then you can approve of it. And I believe once you approve it in your life, you've actually empowered yourself. You've empowered yourself to take the next step. But then when these things come along, the next step is what great leaders do, what phenomenal leaders do, is they start to get you to notice your points. When your rise. So when you start to get these things worked up in you, whether it's a relationship, whether it's something that happened at work, whether it's something your kid do, something is going to trigger these things. And a good leader will get you and start to show you by you explaining to him what your triggers are. And once you start to notice your triggers, it doesn't mean that things won't happen. It means now you have ammunition when that trigger comes, shut it down. And that's the most important thing. That's empowering in itself. And when you can stop relying on somebody else to constantly empower you, which is a great thing, you want that. But when you can start to empower yourself, oh, it's a whole nother ball game then. It really is a whole nother ball game. But I do believe that empowerment really is a state of mind, though. I really do. I really do believe that.
Yeah, I like that. I like how you said that. Like it is a state of mind. It is a state of mind. It's like the Oz. It's like the goal. What state do we want to be in? We want to be in an empowered state. And being in an empowered state means that we're having some type of empowered thinking. We cannot have self-defeating thinking and be in an empowered state. We cannot be in an empowered state and yet slump our bodies over and be like this and feel, if I asked everyone right now, show me what depression looks like, I bet you everyone will know how to put their head down and put their eyes. If I told you to do depression, your eyes would automatically go down. When you're depressed, you're not looking up. Your eyes are, everybody knows what depression feels like in your body and looks like in your body. So what does empowered mean? So empowered means it's a different look. It's a different way you use your body. It's a different stuff that you focus on. It's different stuff that comes out of your mouth and you say, which is what we're talking about here, which is about speaking life into your dreams.
But I want to say this too. when you're saying that, really what I think about too is it's easy to notice the depressed stage. But how can you become a leader, or how can you become a coach or a mentor that notices when people are smiling, when they do seem happy, when they are joyous, but they're in a depressed? See, I know many people who put a smile on their face who are not in a good place. People who know it's that whole thing where it's they continue to speak positivity but have a horrible self-image of themselves. And you can't be happy, you can't be joyous when your self-image is low. So empowering is also being able to recognize when people are being. I just wanted to say, because there's a lot of people who know how to, that fake it till you make it. And I don't believe you need to fake it. I believe when you're going through something, you got to have somebody to talk to. Keep being positive, but you need somebody to interrupt that pattern that you're going through, because they may be able to say something to you that really interrupts that trigger that you're going through, and it could snap them out of it. I think it's so important as people that we're constantly doing that for people who suffer with massive depression. Like, I'm not a trauma therapist, you know what I mean? I just know the people I deal with is they continue to make the repeated excuse over and over again, right? Over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I think sometimes, it's just, you know what? I messed up. It is what it is. I'm right back on it. But you got to have it. Man, the circle of influence, when we talk about the power of you.
Yeah. And so I don't really have anything else on my list. I just want to say that somehow we ended up in this conversation, and it's very important to know that we, a lot of the times we are not stepping into the power of our you. We're not stepping into that power because we never really learned how to. And that's why I'm doing the impact of trauma training this weekend on Saturday. If you haven't registered, go ahead and register for it, because this is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about all the underlying stuff that stops us from really living our dream, from really becoming authentically who we were meant to be, who we were, because it's covered by all the dirt that gets thrown on us as we develop and we grow in our experiences and all of that. But like Raymond was talking about right now, we do have the power to sort of take that dirt off and become ourselves, because it was never gone, which is sort of like what I meant at the beginning when I said, know that the power is already within you. I'm going to put it up here. Know that the power is already within you. What I mean by that is, it isn't about finding it. I mean, you do find it because it's buried, but it's not about finding it somewhere outside of you. You were born with it. You were already born with a particular DNA. You were already born with your gifts. So it's really about, discovering it and rebirthing it, because it may have been covered by all the things that you have been through in your life, and maybe all the negative things that have been said to you, plus all the negative things you said to yourself because of things that you did. And the things that you did, it could be even a week ago. It could be that you messed up really bad a week ago, but it's about picking yourself back up and giving yourself another chance, because actually there's no other way. Either you're picking yourself back up and you're giving yourself another chance and moving forward, or you're falling more behind. So you have no option but to pick yourself up and keep going forward. That's the only option you truly have. So I want to encourage everyone to go ahead and register. If you haven't already registered, register for my training, the childhood trauma and its impact in our lives. Like Raymond said as well, we all have trauma in our lives. It isn't what's happening to those people in those neighborhoods. No, it's what has happened to us. And we all have this. We are all a continuation of our parents' stories and their parents' stories. And when you come to grips with it, then you have the power. Exactly what Raymond said. Once you come to grips with it, once you acknowledge and accept it, then you actually have the power to stop generational curses, which is so incredible. When you actually face it, the problem is that a lot of us are running away from it, not wanting to look at it, avoiding it because of all the pain that it causes us. But when you're grown up, you could actually stop and acknowledge the pain you've been through, accept what you've been through, understand, where it came from, and then actually put the brakes on it so that we don't continue generational curses. And I just want to encourage you guys to really to sign up for the childhood trauma and its impact in our life training. I also wanted to talk about our Rise Up Summit coming up on the 27th, August 27th, 28th, 29th, 30, which is going to be with Raymond, Carrie, and myself. This is the second one we're doing this year, and we had a graduating class back in June. I think it was June or May. I don't. It was like in that last week of May, but it's going to be so great. You're going to really learn how to break your limiting beliefs that stop you from moving forward in your life. You're going to figure out what you need to root yourself in, which has a lot to do with really thinking about what your gifts are. What do you really, really want to root yourself in? What do you want to really dig into and develop more? And then you're also going to end up with a plan. You're going to end up with a personal development plan that you could execute immediately and start moving forward on your dreams and moving forward and saying yes to yourself and rising up for yourself. So this is what we're going to be doing for the Rise Up Masterclass. We already have tickets available on Eventbrite. So go ahead and you could also register for that. I don't know if you want to say something about that, Raymond. I think Raymond.
Whew. Huh? Did I freeze?
Yeah.
Am I frozen? I am or I'm not?
No, you're not frozen.
Oh. Why'd you make me? You confused me, man. You're like so delayed.
I don't know what's happening. But do you want to say something about our Rise Up class?
I want to say one of the most. I wanted to wrap it up tonight too. Is I believe everybody has to have a development plan. You have to have a development plan. You want to develop your children. You want to develop your income. You want to develop. You got to have a development plan for yourself. Physical activity, eating wise, everything you do. You want to have a personal development plan. I think it's so important. Which is, I think, when me, Carrie, and Sarai talked about, and that's why we came up with the Phoenix Rising Self-Development Group. Because really, we want to be the ones that are going to really empower people. Like, I really do believe that the adversities I went through, and I know Stacy talked about it when you had her on Thrive Talk Thursday, is those are really our gift. Like, I don't know if people understand that our traumas, that are setbacks, that are pain points, they're really gifts. And I want you guys to believe that. The divorce, the sexual abuse, everything. It's hard to fathom, but I'm telling you, those are things that are supposed to propel us so we can serve and help other people to either not go through that, to handle it, and to come out better themselves. So I want you guys to understand that. And what we're doing with the Rise Up, Masterclass is we're really trying to take people to the next level, right? And again, I go back, I think sometimes people think, well, I've already got a blueprint. Are you actually doing it? Did you actually prepare it with somebody who actually knew what they were doing? Well, I'm overcoming my limiting beliefs. Are you actually overcoming these things, or have you just buried them, as we talked about earlier? Have you buried them to the point where you don't have to deal with them, which is why you're not able to level up? See, you have blind spots. I don't care who you are. I got blind spots. And when I talk to a mentor, or I talk to a coach, or I talk to somebody, I'm like, wow, dang, man, that really is something that I'm struggling with, because I would never seen it coming, because I'm continuing to work on myself. And when you're continuing to grow, there's some little things that are going to keep you kind of stuck where you're at. And you're going to be spinning wheels until you can figure out what that is. And that's why I believe master classes and seminars, people are afraid. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm being honest with you tonight, right? I think first, in order to make a difference in life, you have to make a decision. So many people, they're making a little bit of money. They're doing a little bit of this on the side. They're doing a little bit of that. But you're never going to reach your full potential until you commit to yourself, period. You got to make a commitment and a decision to yourself that I'm going all in. See, there is no, the Bible is very specific when it talks about, I'd rather you be all in or all out. Don't be in between. Don't be one of those people who's just in between. You can't make a decision of, right? You got to make a decision. And we talked about Sunday night looking foolish to the world. When you're pursuing your dreams and you're chasing and you sign up for a masterclass, some people are going to say, why would you do that? Why couldn't you just do that? Why couldn't you just Google that? Why couldn't you just do this? Because listen, I'm going to tell you the most important thing. You can watch all the YouTube events just like I do. There's nothing like a community. There's nothing like live personal relationships with interactions and people teaching you and showing you the tools, the resources, and everything that they've been through. So again, we're going to go, the day one is going to be incredible because we're all going to be speaking day one. We're all going to have a specific topic that we're going to crush day one. And then day two, we're going to go through our limits and beliefs in our belief system. I call that the BS. It's the belief system. Because you right now, look, I'm going to tell you, I have sat with somebody who is a millionaire who only knew how to make money. They knew nothing about relationships. They knew nothing about investing. You know what they knew how to do? Make freaking money. So we got to understand that we're all in different levels, and there are people who need help and assistance. Because you can make money and your family's falling apart. What's greater? Because I know the Bible tells me those who lose their home but gain wealth, you have no place in heavenly places. Like, you got to make sure you know your blind spots, where you need to strengthen yourself at, where you're loose at, where you're getting hit at, where you're getting popped at. And that's what you're going to learn. And then Carrie's really going to really understand, like, when she talks about being rooted, right? And when I think of rooted, right, I think of authenticity. Who are you deep down? Where are you planting your roots at in your foundation? What do you stand for? And what are you willing to do? And then of course, I'll be doing the goal setting. So I'll be the last day. You guys will have to, you just have to come. You got to look. If you were thinking about putting an investment somewhere, and this is $97. I mean, most people spend $97 on a Good Friday night or taking their family. You could spend $97 going to freaking McDonald's nowadays with a family of 6, right? Exactly. but we have to understand that, yes, you know what? I do think I'm in a good place, but I'm not exactly where I want to be. Then you have to have that empowering mindset, which is not whether you're going to or not. It's like, wow, I know if I take this course, I'm going to learn what I need to get over that hump. And that's what you got to have the mindset, right? So, I'm excited about it. We did our first one. It was a test run. I think this one's going to be a little bit more kind of powerful and impactful. I'm excited because I'm actually looking forward. I want to see testimonies. I'm really to the point in my life where I want to see testimonies. I want to see you guys really start winning. I want to see you guys really start sharing the wins that you're getting, the experiences that you're having. Like, we can coach and we can do all this stuff, but if you're not living your experiences, if you're not starting for yourself, if you're not starting to defeat some of these limiting beliefs, if you're not starting to hit some of these goals, then my job wasn't done well, right? Because I do it because I love it, but I do it because I really want to see you guys win. I want to see you win. I want to see you overcome some things. I want to see you start to break some of these generational curses. But, you got to show up first. You got to invest into yourself first.
Yeah, and I want to say also,
I'm done.
I want to say also that in order for us to do our job well, we also need to hear from you as far as, like, what are your roadblocks? What is stopping you? Because we could deliver and give you the tools and the techniques and all of that, and even the answers. We could even give you the answers. But if emotionally you're not at a place where you're able to deal with your own roadblocks, your own limiting beliefs, or your own whatever is stopping you, then you would need to have the resourcefulness to reach out and say that. And say, hey, I was trying to do what you guys taught, but I had an issue with this. Or I don't know why I started procrastinating or whatever. And usually procrastination really means there's some fear-based, something's happening beneath that isn't allowing you to move forward. So that's why we have our private Facebook group with the Rise Up Masterclass, where you're able to do that as well. But it needs to get used. So in order for you to have success, you need to use those things. And sometimes, the truth is that sometimes we might be able to, give you your whatever answers you need, or or whatever it is that you need, the tools that you need. But maybe you're just not ready for the jump that needs to be made, and that's okay as well, because we're all at different places in our lives, and we all know what we want to accomplish in the next month or 2 months, and we might have a lot of things on our plate. So it's okay for you to arrange and organize your life in a way where you're prioritizing things, and that doesn't make you someone who's losing. You're still winning because you're directing your life and you're directing what you want to focus on, and there isn't room for everything. But that's another part of what Raymond's going to be talking about in Rise Up, is when you set your goals, then that's a moment for you to decide what are you going to put most of your resources in. And your resources mean time, energy, money, emotional energy. You get to choose what you're going to pour that energy into. What we don't want you to do is to pour that emotional energy into things that aren't going to give you any profit. And profit doesn't only mean money. Profit means a good relationship, or it means a lot of other things that doesn't necessarily mean money. So it's up to you to really show up ready to play. So that's what I ask for. I ask for you to show up ready to play, whatever that means for you, because it might not mean for you what it means for me. And that's 100% okay. The other thing I wanted to say tonight before we get off is hold on one second. I am going to be, there's some people, but I am going to be, Raymond put out an ad last night, and I'm going to be, what's the word? Oh my God, I forgot the word. I am going to be purchasing.
An awesome person?
No.
Blessing other people?
I'm going to sponsor 50% of 4 people's exploratory session with Raymond. So on Friday, I'll decide who those 4 people are. If you want to be someone who has an exploratory coaching session with Raymond, I'm going to sponsor 50% of the fee for 4 people. So his exploratory session is $97, so I will pay $50. So then your part will be $47. So then 4 people, and I know there's 2 other people that are doing the same sponsoring thing. So I will be sponsoring 4 people. If you're on here now and you're interested in doing that, just go ahead and DM me. Let me know that you're interested, and we'll work it out. And we'll get you a session with Raymond. It's going to be really, really awesome. Actually, I'll just let him tell you what the exploratory session involves, because I know it involves some other assessments and stuff. So I'll let you explain what your exploratory session involves.
So the first one is, basically, I need to know where you're at. What brought you to this point? Where are you willing to go? Where do you want to go? And how are you willing to stretch yourself? Because there has to be a commitment. So when you show up, I want to know, really, I'm going to get to know you. I want to see, what your limiting beliefs are, what's blocking you, what are the things that you seek, what do you want, and what are you willing to do to get there. I have a game changer assessment that we're going to go through. I usually don't do it on the first session. I usually do it when people get the package deals, because it is an investment for me to do for you. But I think it's something that can really, it'll be powerful. And really, when I go through, and whether it's leadership, so we're going to do 2 different things. We're going to either do it on a leadership spectrum, or we're going to do it on a transformational spectrum, right? Which is the growth mindset. We're going to start filling that gap where we're not able to get to that other side. So we want to become the bridge to get to that other side. And I'm going to help you with the tools, the resources, with the mindset, with anything that you need. But you got to come willing to work, right? That's the one thing this discovery session is. It's not about me. It's about me finding about what you want. When people tell me people will tell me what they want. My next question is what are you willing to do to get it? Because most people want something, but they're not willing to do the work to get it. They just want to tell people. You guys ever been around somebody who just tells you their problems over and over and over again? They don't really want a resolution. They just want to complain about it, right? So this is on the flip script. Tell me your dreams, tell me your whys, and then tell me what you're willing to do to go get it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I will partner up with you and be your accountability partner, and I will give you everything I got as long as you're willing to run through that wall with me. So, if you're in any area in your life, whether you're a beginner or whether you're someone who's already chasing after your goals, somebody who's really pursuing, but you're in a point where you're like, man, I'm just haven't been able to get over that hump, let's break bread.
Yes. Okay, cool. So guys, take advantage of that. It's a one-time offer. On Friday, I'm going to pretty much figure out who the 4 people are. I already got some DMs earlier today. I would totally take advantage of that. I mean, I know that Raymond is the type of person that he gives you all of his soul. He gives you all that he has. So, I mean, I don't know why people wouldn't take advantage of it. But like I said, I already have some people who have DM me. I just want to know, like, I guess when you DM me, just tell me, hey, I want it, and just give me a little reason of why you want it, because I'm gonna choose 4 people who want it, and I guess I'll do it based off like how bad do you want it, and how much of a need do you have, and all of that. So go ahead and send it to me on Friday. I'll figure out who the 4 people are so that you could schedule your session with Raymond sometime for next week. And that's pretty much all I have tonight. I will be contacting you. So guys, some more on this. Okay. So anyway, everyone have a great
night. I just want to say one more. I want to say one more thing. Is always know the whole topic today was the power of you, right? There's no one like you, no duplication of you. There's no one who can do what you can do, the level that you can do it at. No matter what's been done to you, no matter what you've done, no matter what's happened, when you guys already know. For me, see, I do believe that you got to seek, right? So I know we talked about earlier is, to me, there is a seek. There is a gift inside of you, and you got to find that. But to truly find it, to be the most powerful, impactful, authentic you can be, you got to seek it in whose you are. And I'm going to leave you with this, because I believe when you seek it on a level, remember, it says, seek ye first, shall be given to you. So make sure you seek in the things in righteous places. Don't look for a person. Look first inside yourself, and then God will provide the people to get you going where you want to go. Never forget whose you are. And when you know whose you are, you'll find out who you are. When you find out who you are, that is the power of you.
Mm-hmm.
Mic drop.
All right, man. Yeah, I think we could end it on that one. That was good. That was awesome. All right, guys, have a great night. I hope you got a lot of golden nuggets today. I hope you're able to
Love you guys.
apply, off of everything that we said. Just go ahead and tell us like what you think you could do this week, and hope to see you guys on Saturday. Bye-bye. You didn't even put the music like you always do. All right, deuces.
I usually don't do music going out.
Yeah,
deuces. Dude, I'm confused.